Welcome, Super Elite Warriors, to Final Forum, a podcast for the discussion of all things Dragon Ball. I am your host, Jelly, an elite recruiting member of the Frieza Force on a mission to find the best warriors from across the galaxy to join the greatest army of all time, and I am not joined today by my usual co-host, the Bikini, as we continue to explore the cultural inspirations and history behind Akira Toriyama's seminal franchise, because this is Dragon Ball-oween, and this is mini-episode number 2, where Bikini and I separately reveal our own top 10s on a topic, and this year it's top 10 antagonists. Before we get into it, I'd just like to say, if you want to hit us up and let us know that you've enjoyed this or any of the episodes we've released, feel free to drop us a line at finalforumpodcast@gmail.com or on any of our social medias, but especially finalforumpodcast@gmail.com. I'd love to read any feedback that we get. For example, on our Sandland episode, which just went up a couple of weeks ago, we received a comment from Andrew Lander, who is actually the voice actor behind General R.A. He said, "Yes, you guys are the only ones I've heard who get the reference to General R.A.'s name. Nice in-depth episode." I love getting feedback from anyone, and especially from someone who is a voice actor on the show. It really just makes me feel great, and like what we're doing is being heard by people, and they are enjoying it. So without too much further ado, like I said, anyone who wants to drop us a line, get at us on social media or finalforumpodcast@gmail.com. We'll read your comments if we get them and we enjoy them. Without further ado, I bring you Jelly's top 10 antagonists. Number 10, Carmine. My boy Carmine has it all. He's devilishly handsome, he's fiendishly intelligent, and he has a special dome in his car just for his pompadour. In a better world, this podcast itself would be a Carmine production, courtesy of Carmine Studios, starring Carmine and directed by Carmine, but alas, this is reality, and all we have is our ceaseless quest in the furthest reaches of deep space. Number 9, Tao Paipai. Tao Paipai is the first villain to really be able to defeat Goku in an essentially fair fight. He uses underhanded tactics, no doubt, and Goku's defeat is extremely temporary. But though Tao Paipai plays into some of the punchlines of the Red Ribbon Army arc as a whole, and the whole thing sort of undercuts the extent of his villainy, since it definitely basically ends on a gag, Tao Paipai is the first step towards Dragon Ball introducing truly evil villains whose villainy and strength are so ferocious Goku has no choice but to ascend to a higher level to stop them. Also the Pillar. It's difficult to top the Pillar. But my next entry at number 8 does it, and that is Moro. Moro tops the Pillar. How does he do it? This villain that we won't talk about for years and years and has only appeared in the manga thus far? First of all, his design. Go look it up if you're unfamiliar with it. In light of this being Halloween season, Moro's design alone could potentially land him even higher on this list, but I'll admit there have been better villains. Still, when you're the Planet Eater and you actually become a planet at one point, and your arc is one of the best written arcs in Dragon Ball, maybe the best since Cell, you're going to land on a top 10 list. Number 7, Baby. Yes, GT haters, Bikini definitely included. In fact, Bikini especially included. Baby is an awesome villain. Suck it. Especially Bikini. I love how he ties into the sins of the father sort of theme and brings up a bunch of ethical points of interest with regards to Saiyans and their history. Maybe it's not all explored that well, but it's Dragon Ball, and Baby can also throw down, kind of. His Baby Vegeta form, quite frankly, rules, and the body horror aspect of Baby taking people over definitely pushes him up the list. It's one of Dragon Ball's more disgusting elements, and in the spirit of spooky season, he lands on my list. Number 6. Captain Ginyu. Though Ginyu isn't Dragon Ball's best body-swapping villain, more on that in a moment, he is the first, and the psychological fear he can bring is second to very few in Dragon Ball. On top of that, look at him. No, not just his design and how devilish it is in this time of the year, but his poses, his grace, his form. It's a breathtaking sight to behold. I love Ginyu because he embodies some of the very best aspects of Dragon Ball gag villains while also being able to more than hold his own in a fight. Being built up for an entire arc, only to show up and be a clown, only to have that clown actually waylay the heroes is some classic Toriyama subversion. Number 5. King Piccolo. If the reign of Piccolo had lasted longer than a day, one could argue Piccolo is easily the most successful Dragon Ball villain we've seen. Though he's ousted from his post as king of the world, he does claim it. He reaches his goal. How many other villains from the series achieve whatever goal they begin their arc with? Almost none. Frieza never becomes immortal, Red never gets any taller, Goku Black doesn't wipe out mortals. I could go on, but the point is Piccolo becomes king of the world and begins a reign of terror that has people quaking in fear and being incinerated at his evil hands. He blows up an entire city. Let's also remember that he's the Demon King and it's Halloween. Props to demons as Samhain approaches. Number 4. Goku Black. I'm sure you've probably seen the posts about this guy floating around social media over the years, but really think about it. He swaps his body with the heroes, then nonchalantly murders the hero's entire family, then spends decades terrorizing the entire world while wearing the face of this hero, while his oldest friend can do nothing but watch in horror, and then the last thing she sees before the end is the face of the sweet boy she befriended decades ago murdering her. Cold-blooded. Plus,
hold your fire! This man isn't black!
I'm also a big fan of villains with god complexes, and well, is it a god complex if you technically are a god? Number 3. Cell. Prior to revisiting as we work our way through the franchise, Cell holds in my memory the best written arc of Dragon Ball that there is. If the franchise had ended there, it would have frankly been perfect. Perfection. That's what Cell's after, and he almost gets it. But then Dragon Ball continues. Not that I'm mad about it, but I don't know if any subsequent arc in the franchise has measured up to the heights of the Cell arc. On top of that, he's one of Dragon Ball's grossest, most horror-centric villains, and his sequence of stalking the people of Ginger Town and sucking them dry landed near the top of my list of scariest Dragon Ball moments. Cell's narcissism is top-tier stuff, and that he doesn't want anything other than to prove how perfect he is and inspire fear in people helps land him high on my villains list. This is not someone who wants to take over the world. This is not someone who wants to destroy the world. This is a villain who simply wants to inspire fear. Number 2, Frieza. Frieza was never a favorite villain of mine until he showed up in Dragon Ball Super. DBZ Frieza is a menace, don't get me wrong, and a sadist, and a jerk, and the strongest foe imaginable, and he ruins Vegeta's life, and well, that's just not okay, but Super made him fun and funny. Frieza running around this tournament of power beating people so badly that they eliminate themselves rather than continue suffering as torture is incredible. Frieza wanting only to be taller because he's embarrassed that Goku towers over him is incredible. Frieza achieving the next level of strength so vast he's able to defeat Goku and Vegeta in a single punch and then leaving them to bask in that shame instead of killing them? Incredible. Frieza would have landed on this list no matter what, but the evolution of his character has pushed him to almost the very top. But then who could be on top? Well, you might be thinking Vegeta, but I actually put an imposition on myself and said nobody who gets redeemed, so not Vegeta. So could it possibly then be Pilaf? You know I love Emperor Pilaf. How about Hirudegarn? Everyone out there knows that Jelly loves a kaiju. What about Majin Buu? I do think he's somewhat unfairly maligned, and I really dig a villain who is beyond even the vaguest hope of reason or bargaining. However, listeners, no, my number one is pretty obvious if you actually think about it. He only appears briefly, extremely briefly, he's never named on screen, and he's immediately taken out by Gotenks. But the movie Fusion Reborn features an appearance by none other than Adolf Hitler. And let's be honest, who's more evil than Hitler? Well, that does it for our Dragon Ball-oween. I hope everyone has enjoyed. Our episodes on Sandland and Castle in the Sky, as well as these mini-sodes. As I said, if you have any comments on any of our episodes, feel free to drop us a line and we'll make sure we read them. I hope everyone has enjoyed their October and watched some spooky movies. I know I have. If you want to follow me on Letterboxd, you can find me. My username is JellyDonut25. And like I said, I just hope everyone has had a good, safe holiday and had fun portraying their favorite characters or villains or horror icons as this spooky time of year comes to its end. Will we have more Dragon Ball-oween mini-sode top 10s in the future? What will we reveal about ourselves during those lists? Find out next time and help us achieve our final forum.
Final Form is written and produced by Tom Gwelly. It is performed by Dan Kinney and Tom Gwelly. Our webmaster is Dan Kinney. Our theme music is provided by YouTube content creator GVG Kid. Want to learn more about the Dragon Ball universe, including concept art, behind-the-scenes interviews, and recommendations from Jelly and Bikini? Connect with us on social media. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Final Forum Pod. Make sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you receive your podcasts. And of course, make sure to share it with your friends and family and help us spread the word of the glory of Lord Frieza. The Frieza Force thanks you for your listenership.